some people who don't wish to become involved in spirituality, or some people who are somehow involved in spirituality, but as they are involved in spirituality, they are on the superficial level. They don't feel comfortable with those who wish to be involved in a more profound way. And that is normal. But should that become an obstacle of our path? If some people who are superficial wish to abandon us, is that a reason for us to abandon the profound spirituality or a profound spiritual path? No.
No.
So we allow those who are superficial and who are not prepared for these profound teachings to go on their path, on their way of life, of living, and we continue our path. It is like you have, let's say, a boyfriend, and this boyfriend don't become mature as the years go by, but you become very mature, you become very spiritual, and gradually you feel that your boyfriend is not cannot fulfill you anymore. You don't have to share anything with him anymore, isn't it?
Yes.
So you, let's say you want to go to your spiritual events, you want to follow some kind of spiritual events, let's say a satsang or a spiritual talk or a spiritual ceremony, and this boyfriend don't allow you or don't wish to come with you. And gradually there is also a fighting. Like, I prefer to take you into the cinema or to a club or to, let's go to drink something, alcohol or whatever. Is that a reason for you to abandon the spiritual path?
Yeah.
Not at all. You have to continue your spiritual path. And of course, you can try your boyfriend to show to him a better life, a better way to live, more spiritual, more moral, according to the dharmic rules. And you can do some kind of patience, let's say. You can try to wait a little bit for him to follow. But if the years are passing and you are evolving spiritually, and he becomes all the time again and again an obstacle, or he don't wish to follow anymore, to follow you and your lifestyle, then that is not a reason for you to abandon your spiritual path to self-realization. And that's why we have the solution of a Sangha, a spiritual community of brothers and sisters, where instead of having company and meeting people who are not spiritual, who are not interested to follow a moral and spiritual lifestyle, we can have the company of the spiritual community, of the Sangha. So you can pick up these kind of people to have company and to live with, who are having the same interests with you. So it is unavoidable. It is called life, that sooner or later some people will continue their life, their path, and will not wish to stay with you. But some new people will do appear, who are who are sharing the same interests with you, and they want to be with you and to share with you what you love to do or what you love to study, let's say. So our intention is to create a beautiful Sangha, a beautiful spiritual community of brothers and sisters, also online, but also in our upcoming ashram, Gurukulam, in Corinthos area in Greece, where people can live together and share the common interest of a spiritual, a dharmic lifestyle, and also the path to self-realization, jnana yoga. And of course, you are most welcome. So a lot of new friends will do appear in your life, a lot of new brothers and sisters who would love to be with you, either in person, alive, or online, until there is no such, of course, possibility to be with them in person. You can be with them online. Or we can invite you to our upcoming retreats, where all together we can share our path of Advaita Vedanta, our Sampradaya or Guru Parampara, and we can have a beautiful spiritual atmosphere all together, sharing what we love to do and how we love to live.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Very nice question. A lot of people, I'm sure, they have this question. And a lot of people also, they're afraid to follow a spiritual path because of this reason, whether my boyfriend or my husband or my wife will abandon me.
Yes.
But it's not the right decision for sure to abandon your spiritual path to self-realization due to somebody who don't wish to have self-knowledge. It is unfair. It is not even logical.
Yes. It's difficult.
Yes, of course it is difficult, but I can assure you that a lot of people, they would love to be with you and to have your company. A lot of people who are sharing the same interests with you, like for self-knowledge and spirituality and living a dharmic and moral lifestyle. And they will appear either through this Sangha or another Sangha. And they will ask you for your company. I'm sure, for example, that my Sisya Andrew will be very happy to chat together and to meet together online and to discuss about spirituality and about our path, about our Guru Parampara or Sampradaya. Andrew for sure will be happy. And you will always be welcome in our Sangha to share with us our path. So it's not bad. It is good that some people will abandon us. It is a kind of purification of our lives. It is a kind of clearing our path from obstacles. And even if you didn't follow a spiritual path and you wanted just to be without toxic people, it is again your right to be with non-toxic people and to abandon people who are toxic, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
So if, for example, if somebody is using violence, himsa, against you, and always after meeting him, you feel completely empty and not nice at all, then it is your right to abandon this person. Of course, you may try to persuade him to change and to stop to be toxic, But that doesn't mean that the rest of your life should face this toxicity. So the same with our path. It is unavoidable that some people will abandon us, and also it is unavoidable that some people will ask us to be with and to share our Sangha. So like everything in samsara, in this illusory world, dream world, everything has a good side and a bad side. There is nothing which has only a good side. And it is always better to look at the good side in samsara and not in the negative side, the positive rather than the negative side.
Mm-hmm.
Another point that I would like to highlight is that a lot of people are feeling loneliness. They feel that they are alone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also beautiful when you are belonging to a Sangha, a spiritual community of brothers and sisters, following a legitimate and authentic lineage, Guru, Parampara, or Sampradaya. It is that you will never feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
And also you will understand sooner or later that there is no such thing as loneliness. There is no such thing as I am alone. Why? Because what you are as consciousness, infinite impersonal consciousness awareness, is embracing whatever appears and disappears. Everything appears and disappears in you, consciousness. There is no, in reality, there are no others. So this is the profound answer to your question. There are no really others. There is only you. And when I say you, I don't mean the person or the ego or the body-mind complex. I mean you as infinite impersonal consciousness. And there is only one. There are no many. So there are no many consciousnesses. There is only one consciousness. And this is what you are. And we know also from the life of Ramana Maharishi, the great sage,
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of times some people were asking him what we should do for society, for other people to help them, how we can stop the wars and things like that. And Ramana Maharishi used to say that there are no others. And it is the truth. There are no others. There is only you. But this is, of course, very profound, and it's not easy to grasp it. But this is the ultimate truth, that there is only one consciousness, one awareness, or Brahman, and this is what you are. All the rest is only a dream. So Advaita Vedanta will show you gradually, if you follow a competent guru, will reveal to you that there is only you as infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman. And when you will be able to have this infinite and permanent conviction, and you have it and nothing can disturb this conviction on a permanent basis, then of course you will see that there is no loneliness. Because in the first place there is nobody as a person. It is only the playfulness of consciousness. All these apparent beings are only an illusion, an appearance. Just like the dream in the night. Even if the dream appears real for the dreamer don't know that he is the waker. He believes he is the dreamer, and he's having a lot of transactions, a lot of experiences in the dream. He can have utility. If the dreamer feels thirsty and somebody will offer to him a glass of water, the dreamer will not be thirsty anymore. So transactability, experienceability, and utility are giving the impression that the dream is real. Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But isn't it the same in the so-called waking state? There is transactability. We transact with apparent others. And we have utility. We have experienceability. We have many kinds of experiences. And sooner or later, we are 800 years old, let's say, and we go and we look back, and everything appears as a moment. I mean, if you look back your life, isn't it like a moment right now?
I think so.
Yes. And even if you ask somebody who is 130 years old, he will say, it's amazing. It feels like one moment, my entire life, like a dream. Because it is a dream. All the scriptures and all the authentic spiritual paths, they reveal to us that everything is just like a dream. So this is the most profound leap about your question. You can choose if you like to take the basic part of the answer or the more advanced.
Yes, okay. But another thing, but beside that, we have interests, also other interests in life, like the work we do, and we continue with that. We continue working. Yes, we continue our job, example, scientific job, educational job, our job, nutritional job. We continue this job, and we are still in the path of Advaita. We do that.
Why not?
Voilà. Why not? We can do both.
Yes.
Yes.
There is no any saying in the scriptures that somebody should abandon his prarabdha karma, and there is also no way to abandon the prarabdha karma.
Okay.
Even if you decide to stay in a room and not to move at all the body, the physical body, it is impossible to do it. Sooner or later, somebody will knock the door, isn't it?
Yes.
Or somebody will ask the rent, if you have rent, or somebody will ask from your relatives or your friends, or something will press this body-mind complex to unfold the rest of the prarabdha karma, the destiny. So the destiny, the prarabdha karma, will unfold, whether you like it or not, as a person. Because it is the fructification from past lifetimes, and you cannot stop it. Even a jnani, a self-realized one, cannot stop the destiny, the prarabdha karma. Only the jnani knows very well that prarabdha karma have only the body-mind complex, not the real self with capital S. So, as you are in the path of Advaita Vedanta, the body-mind complex experiencing prarabdha karma, destiny, which is on the form of punyam, which is good karma, good pleasurable circumstances and experiences, and also papam, which is what we call not pleasurable karma or bad karma. Both of them should be unfolded. and you can do nothing about it. So this is the bad news, that you cannot change prarabdha karma, but the good news is that the one who has karma does not really exist. It's only an illusion. The one who really exists does not have any karma. The supreme consciousness that you are, impersonal consciousness, awareness, or Brahman, don't have any karma and cannot be affected, cannot be touched by any karma of the apparent illusory individual entity. So what you really are don't have any karma. It is always the only enlightened one, the only self-realized one, and cannot be affected by anything at all. But the person, of course, has karma and will be unfolded.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
So, for example, let me add something more. When you are in the deep sleep without dreams, do you have any inquiries? Let's say, what will do about the people who will abandon me, or I will be alone, isn't it? Or I want to be self-realized or enlightened one. Do you have any questions about that?
No question.
You see? There has to be the thinking process in the so-called waking state where all these questions do appear.
Yes, of course.
So all these questions are only concepts. The entire universe, apparent universe, all the apparent beings and all the apparent objects are only nama rupa, names and forms, concepts or labels, superimpositions in our true nature as infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman, or modulations of the same consciousness. Just like the ocean, which modulates itself in waves. But actually we have only water. In reality, there is no existence of waves. It's only a name, a label, a concept. We have only water.
Yes, but for many people, Advaita is also for them a concept. For other people, they may consider that Advaita is a concept also.
Of course, it is a concept. Advaita Vedanta is also a concept.
Yeah, okay. And you adhere to it or not?
Non-duality or duality are only concepts.
Also.
Yes. Nevertheless, if you believe in multiplicity and duality and the existence of the apparent universe and the apparent beings and the apparent objects, it is better to study non-duality. When you study non-duality, or better, Advaita Vedanta, you realize that both the concepts of duality or non-duality are just concepts.
Yes, I know that.
What you really are is beyond non-duality or duality. All these so-called teachers of non-duality path, they're just stuck, and together with themselves, they make other people also stuck in this idea of a non-duality path, which is a complete illusion. Because duality and non-duality are only concepts, only thought forms, which do not exist in the deep sleep without dreams. Nevertheless, if somebody is in the hell and there is a door, the door in the hell allows the person to go out of the hell. So it has a function. So the same with Advaita Vedanta. It's like a door that can lead you to recognize that both duality and non-duality is illusion.
Also.
There is no path, non-duality path. As fake teachers are selling to make money and to sell satsangs. There is only Advaita Vedanta path. And when you study Advaita Vedanta, in a mature state, Advaita Vedanta itself reveals to you that you have to go beyond these concepts. But non-duality will never reveal to you this. Non-duality will say you are belonging to the non-duality path, when in reality there is no such thing. Or they sell themselves with a label, I am a non-duality teacher.
Yes, yes, excuse me, but Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is non-duality.
No, Patanjali Yoga Sutras are on the duality path. It is
duality is a duality path. Yes, excuse me.
Yes, it is Samkhya philosophy.
Yes, it's what I ought to say is duality path.
Yes, Samkhya philosophy.
Sankara.
It is Dvaita path, not Advaita.
Advaita path.
Yes, that doesn't mean that it is not useful for those who are on this level. Satchitananda, of course, the physical appearance, body-mind complex, is a father of twins, daughters, Tara and Samadhi. Satchitananda cannot go to the daughters and speak about non-duality or very profound teachings yet. So what Satchitananda is doing to the daughters is to speak about values, about morality, about the dharmic lifestyle, about God. So that doesn't mean that the duality path is bad or the Dvaita path is bad. It is not the most profound level. It is not, let's say, the postdoctorate level. It is like the master level.
Yes.
Or basic school or college. If somebody don't have enough purification of the mind and somebody is not prepared enough with karma yoga, upasana, and a moral lifestyle for many, many, many lifetimes, it will be impossible to enter the profound teachings of Advaita Vedanta.
Yes, of course.
So it is much better to follow a Dvaitic path, such as the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, than not to follow anything at all and be an unmoral person or a completely worldly person. So there are levels and levels.
Yes, okay.
Also, yes, also somebody wants, if somebody wants to follow Advaita Vedanta, but feels that his mind is not yet prepared enough, he can combine a Dvaitic path, a Raja Yoga path, let's say, of Yoga Sutras of Patanjali to purify the mind and to make himself or herself eligible in this lifetime or next lifetimes for the profound level of Jnana Yoga, the ultimate yoga, or Advaita Vedanta. So everything has its usefulness. Sanatana Dharma has all levels of understanding, all levels of spiritual maturity. And the highest, let's say, the peak or the top of the pyramid of Sanatana Dharma is Jnana Yoga, Advaita Vedanta. But how many are ready or eligible or prepared enough for this profound level, for this peak of most profound teachings? Not so many.
I understand now.
Satchitananda, one travels to India, still cannot find one except my guru, Swami Paramarthananda, who is on the level of Advaita Vedanta. So all the trips, and I'm trying to find somebody who understands Advaita Vedanta, or he knows what means Advaita Vedanta, and unfortunately I cannot find. They are doing only rituals, which is wonderful, and it creates purification of the mind and gradual, step by step, to be eligible for Advaita Vedanta, but that is not Advaita Vedanta. To participate only in the Vedic rituals, this is not Advaita Vedanta, it is called Karma Kanda. It is on the level of rituals, on the level of purification of the mind, Karma Yoga, which is fantastic if you are not prepared enough, if you are not yet mature enough for Advaita Vedanta. It is wonderful. And for those who want to enter Advaita Vedanta, but they feel not ready enough or not prepared enough, they can do parallel Karma Yoga and Upasanam. And at the same time, they can study some hours Advaita Vedanta with a competent guru, and gradually, step by step, become ready and prepared enough for these profound teachings. No problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Very nice questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Somebody else with a question, or we can read from the transcripts of my guru, Swami Paramarthananda.
I've got a question of sorts.
Yes, most welcome.
Swami Ji talks about some characteristics of the waking world. It's quite interesting. Like he says, it's objective, external, and concrete, and it's based, has sense organ experience. Okay, a few of those I was like questioning, like because it appears to be external, the world, but is it really external? Because we can have we can be in a lucid dream, for example, and the lucid dream can the dream world appears external, but we know that it's not. So is it not the same case with the waking world? It appears external, but is it not just a collective projection? Because if it's the same thing happens when I leave the dream world, when I leave the waking world. When I leave the dream world, when my mind stops, my dream mind ceases, the dream world ceases. Is it not the same with the waking world? The waking world for me ceases when my waking mind, when I fall asleep, when my waking mind no longer is there. So is it not just it's not external, it's a projection of the mind. And when the mind ceases, because it's not external, it can't function on its own. That's my objective.
Yes, very nice topic. Of course, there is no internal and external. Why? Because there is only one consciousness, infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman, and everything that appears and disappears are only just like a dream. In Astavakra Gita, Janaka and Astavakra reveal that everything is just like a soul or a dream lasting 3 to 5 days. The entire universe and all the apparent beings and apparent objects and apparent relationships and apparent circumstances or events. But again, it is from the standpoint that we want to look up,
Sure.
to look out. If you look from the standpoint of the waker, the dream is a dream. You wake up and you say, I had an awful dream, a nightmare, or a pleasurable dream. If you are a dreamer, you believe that you are the dreamer. You don't remember that you are the waker, the apparent waker, of course. And all the experiences in the dream, they do appear external, when in reality, there is no external environment. It is only a projection of the mind in itself, according to the last days and all the memories that they are stored in the mind. And also there is a kind of purification during the dream and a kind of exhaustion of a lot of shocks and situations which were very traumatic. So we have an exhaustion, a kind of healing also in the state of dream. And then when there is the waking state, then you recognize that the dream was a dream, but not during the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Then when there is what we call self-realization and you become a jnani, then you realize that also the so-called waking state was also a big dream. And now you are a super waker. Ramana Maharishi used to call about the dream and the so-called waking state, that the only difference is that they do appear, that the waking state do appear more long. This is the only difference.
Mm.
And also, when there is a recognition of truth, and you know that there is only this substratum of yourself, the real self with capital S, then you recognize that there is no internal and external. Because then you look from the standpoint of consciousness, you look from the standpoint of awareness, Brahman, not from the standpoint of an apparent individual entity. So internal and external are only concepts again, only labels, names and forms, nama, rupa, superimpositions on the same consciousness. Upon realizing that there is no snake and there is only a rope, what happens with the snake? Did you kill the snake? No. You just recognize that never was there a snake. Always there was a rope. So from the standpoint of a jnani, there is only the rope as itself, as infinite consciousness, awareness, Brahman. And the snake was only a superimposition or an illusion or a superimposition. So all these questions about and why the apparent universe and why I have to suffer and when it happened and why, all these are just stupid questions. Because it is like you ask why the snake appeared and made me to feel awful or to feel terribly in panic or fear. But the snake was never there. So why? What is the meaning of the question when it appeared and why? It never appeared, never was existent, the snake. You just was walking in the not so big light. You didn't wear maybe your eyeglasses, and you thought that a snake will gonna bite you, and you were in panic. But it's only a rope. The guru will come and say, wake up, there is no snake here. It's your stupidity. There is only rope. So wake up. You should not have fear for the illusory world. You should not have any panic and any kind of anxiety and worries, because what you are worrying, and for what you have fears and stress and agony does not exist, was never existed, was always an appearance. So it is like that. It is the standpoint always that makes the teachings to appear sometimes even contradictory. So in one scripture it says there is creation, and Brahmaji, not Brahman, but Brahmaji, one of the Trinity, created the universe. But it is for junior students, for junior seekers. Just like Satchitananda used the example of the daughters, Tara and Samadhi. So Satchitananda can say to the daughters, God created the universe. But sooner or later, Satchitananda will speak to them and explain that there is no such thing as creation. I'm sorry, it was just because you were very small. And will say the absolute truth, will speak the absolute teachings, the teachings of the Absolute, or Advaita Vedanta, the most profound teachings, when they are older than 9 years old. So the twins' daughters now, they cannot handle the complete deconstruction that they can handle when they are more old, more ready, more prepared. From their standpoint, it is enough to believe in God and to pray and to learn moral lifestyle and dharmic rules and values and some Vedic rituals. All these are okay for 9 years old twins' daughters, but not Advaita Vedanta. The same with junior seekers. They cannot handle, they cannot grasp, they cannot swallow so heavy food, So that's why we cannot say that Advaita is something bad. It is a prerequisite, just as it is the prerequisite of kindergarten before you go to the basic school, or it is a prerequisite to go to the university before you go to master level or PhD or even postdoctorate studies. Let's say that Advaita Vedanta is postdoctorate studies. And I think this put the things in the right perspective, this explanation. We don't judge other paths. We don't consider other paths as bad. We just consider that Advaita Vedanta is not for everybody. It cannot be for everybody. It is impossible. It needs preparation for millions of lifetimes. Otherwise, nobody can grasp. That's why you can see in a Zoom satsang like this one, four participants. But if you go to a Zoom, let's say, class about, let's say, how to attract money, or how to attract the best lover in your life, or how to chant, or how to learn visualization, you can see millions are interested for such topics, you know. But how many are interested to get suicide as an ego, as an individual entity? How many are prepared enough to die? I think there are not so many who are ready to get suicide or to die as a person, as an individual identity. So 99% of humanity prefer to reinforce the false belief system that I'm an individual entity and I need to make money and I need to have fun and I need to enjoy the worldly things. And it's okay. One day, after 1 billion lifetimes, they may be ready for Advaita Vedanta. You see, these classes will never have a lot of people. It is impossible. Satchitananda will be happy if this class will rise up to 10 regular good students. It will be more than enough. But even this number is very difficult because they do not exist so many prepared jivatmas, apparent individual entities. There are not so many. Maybe there are 10 in every country. Maybe there are not more than 100 in India out of 1,300,000,000. Andrew remembers that even in Mat, in the Mat Sringeri, in the public, there are no teachings about Advaita Vedanta. In the Mats, you can see a lot of rituals and a lot of teaching about Dharma and about a moral lifestyle, which is wonderful for the masses, you know, but you cannot see very easily profound teachings of Adi Sankaracharya or Upanishads teachings in general. Because there is no request from the masses. The masses in general, they go to a guru and they say to the guru, please pray for me to have enough money or to have a career or to find somebody to get married or to make money. Or they do some rituals because of this reason. Or they try to become superior by saying, I am a spiritual person because I belong to this path. So that to create a kind of superiority complex by saying that I follow this guru or this path. But in reality, if you ask them, they will not be able to explain to you anything at all from their understanding. They just, they may share a lot of people informations. Yes, Advaita Vedanta believes that. Or the guru said that. So they attract informations or data, but that is not, of course, the real path following. It has to be your own truth in the heart of your heart. Otherwise, it is just a collection of data and informations for you to believe and to act from a superior level. And say, I'm a spiritual person, I follow Advaita Vedanta, or the so-called non-duality path and the so-called non-duality teacher, which are non-existent at all. There is no such thing as Advaita, Advaita even alone. There is only Advaita Vedanta. But a lot of teachers, you know, they do it intentionally and they remove the Vedanta and they call it Advaita or non-duality. or I am a non-duality teacher, or I teach non-duality path. But there is no such thing, or there is no such a legitimate, authentic lineage. It's just a creation of Westerners who want to sell and to misappropriate the teachings. But again, these so-called non-duality teachings and non-duality teachers are for this level of the masses. It is better than to be completely worldly persons. It's a little bit better, because they may trigger something more better research about what means to follow a legitimate, authentic lineage or Guru Parampara or Sampradaya. And yes, unfortunately, we need to accept that there is so much misappropriation nowadays in our era of Kali Yuga of the most profound teachings. There is a complete exploitation of the teachings. Everybody is selling his own understanding. And unfortunately, we have more and more ignorant people, full in ignorance and darkness. No moral lifestyle, no dharmic lifestyle. Just, I am a follower of Neo-Advaita or Neo-Vedanta or non-duality. My guru is this famous with bestseller non-duality book, and so on and so forth. My webinars are costing, there is a cost of that to follow. My workshops or retreats cost so and so. So they made, unfortunately, the authentic teachings as commerce, exploiting non-stop.
Yeah.
I pray that one day all these non-dual so-called teachers and fake gurus to say to their followers, I was a criminal, I was a fake one. Please try to find an authentic lineage and follow this authentic lineage. And stop making me rich. Stop giving me your money. So people should understand. It should be clear in humanity, the teaching should not be for selling. Somebody has to say that to the humanity. These teachings are not for selling. And these teachings belong to Sanatana Dharma in general and Advaita Vedanta path. They are not for selling. Nobody can become a professional non-dual teacher and make that a profession, a job, to become rich, to become a millionaire. Somebody else? So if there is no other question, maybe Andrew can read a little bit from my Guru Swami Paramarthananda transcripts until we have a question, and then to close the session.
Yeah, we've got 9 minutes.
Yes, only for 9 minutes reading, and then we can close.
I'll find my place. Excuse me, I marked it earlier. I'll just pick somewhere to start reading from, because I highlighted a paragraph. It's not there. Maybe it's maybe I closed it.
Scriptures.
Then comes the third layer of literature known as smriti. Smritis are generally in the form of poems. It is a metrical literature. And as the very word smritis goes, it is remembered wisdom. That is, the rishis studied the Vedas, they studied the sutras, and having gathered all the teachings given in the Shruti and Sutra, they again present it in an elaborate form. In Sutra literature, it is only cryptic presentation, whereas in Smriti literature, it is slightly elaborated. And the function of the Smritis is also the same: codification and clarification. And thousands of verses are written by several rishis. You may have heard of Manu Smriti, Ragnayavalka Smriti, Parashara Smriti. And if you take a Smriti book and see the topics, you will find that they are very beautifully arranged. They talk about the topic of cosmology, how the creation arose. A beautiful development is given, and thereafter you will find these duties: the goals of life, the duties of a student, the duties of a householder, the duties of a ruler, the duties of a citizen, duties of males, duties of females, all beautifully classified. He says the difference between Sutra and Smriti is, Sutra is cryptic, and therefore there can be vagueness, whereas in Smritis, they've got a wider elbow room to explain. In Sutra literature, many ideas are implicit. The implicit ideas are made explicit. Hidden ideas are brought to light. Avishtara. It is this Smriti literature, and it is an equally vast literature. And the beauty is generally our scriptural literature has three different forms. If it is the prose form, as in the Vedas, there is swara or intonation, which will be useful for chanting. If it is a prose form of literature, it is available for chanting. Because of what? Because of swara. Can you chant any of the English literature in prose form? You cannot chant, but Vedic prose is chantable. If it is not in chantable prose, it is in the form of cryptic statements, or it is in verse form. Do you know why it is like that? So that we can learn them by heart. If you want to memorize the entire Veda, you can do that. Try conducting the entire Yajurveda Parayanam. They don't have a single book. You can see the priests coming. We generally don't observe. We don't know the value of our tradition. We think that they are chanting something. Imagine for days together, they chant the mantras without a single book, indicating that the entire Veda can be memorized. Why it is memorizable? It is because it is chantable. It is chantable because there is svara or intonation. And otherwise, it is in the form of sutra, and that being very short and cryptic, it is in capsule form, you can remember. In memory techniques, they talk about mnemonics, you can remember. The entire teaching, which can be presented in 100 books, can be presented in 5 pages in sutra form. It's like the disc in which the entire Encyclopedia Britannica is in one CD. In fact, all our rishis were CDs. You just tap and things used to come. And if it is not in Vedic chanting or sutra form, it is in the form of poems. The entire philosophy is presented in Gita poem, and you can chant. Philosophy can be chanted. Try to chant Greek philosophy. Try to chant other try to chant other philosophy for that matter. Here, philosophy itself is composed and presented in poetic form. It is the third layer of scriptural literature. Smriti Gran Talso comes under Purashaya Shastram. The composition is human, but the content is divine. Whereas in the Veda, both composition and content are divine. But in the Sutra and Smriti, the composition is human. That is, the words come from human, but the contents are divine. Okay, that's the third layer of teaching. We've got like 2 minutes left. So.
Okay, let's close it for tonight. Thank you for your participation, and let's see each other next week.
Okay.
So namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Bye.
Bye.